Disclaimer: if you see a little kid running by screaming "Daddy, Daddy," we could still roll with the meeting.
We
But
can roll it, man.
we
Everybody
can
love the
roll it.
kids,
We
man.
can
We
roll
can
it.
roll with it, man. They love the
Well,
kids.
our junior year,
Right.
I got introduced to Coach Frank. Shout out to Coach Frank. He's one of the elite trainers, coaches. If you mention his name down in Dade County, everybody know who he is.
Frank
Um,
Doolittle, yes.
I got introduced to him my freshman going to my sophomore year, I think it was.
Hmm.
And that took, when I say that took my physical stature, my physical game to another level because he had that mindset like if I don't and you don't break your body down now, come time for the season, you're gonna be behind. And to say I remember us being that sore, that my whole time period with Coach Frank,
Dude,
even eating like immigrant big plates,
big
even
plate,
eating,
big
even
plate.
eating over at his house was just
I
painful.
was scared not to eat all of my food. I was afraid he was gonna make me work out again. So I ate everything.
Two things that he did if you didn't eat all your food:
What?
you had to work out again,
See?
or you had
See?
to pay for your
See?
plate.
Boom! We in the gym. Fucking the EJ's gym. A guide to elevate your mindset. Yo, I got a special guest on the line. I'll let him introduce himself. Go ahead.
Special.
Special guest,
I,
man.
I
You know my
appreciate that,
dog.
brother. Appreciate that. I appreciate that. Well, I'm Rodney Brutus. First and foremost, I just want to appreciate you for allowing me to be a part of what you got going on, man, and reaching out to me, and we finally made it happen. So, first and foremost, I just want to thank you, but definitely want to thank the Lord above for allowing us to still be here to make this happen, man. Because without Him, um, we would be nothing. We would have nothing, and this wouldn't be possible. So, once again, I appreciate you for reaching out. But no further ado, Rodney Brutus. I'm originally from born and raised Miami, Florida. Miami boy to the heart. You know what I mean? Miami everything.
Yeah.
For the exception of my Dolphins sometimes, but that's a different story. But born and raised in Miami, Florida, man. Went to school in Dade County, Westview Elementary, Westview Middle, Miami Central Senior High School. From there, that's when I met EJ. That's how we linked up. My man EJ gave me plenty of headaches. You know, plenty of headaches in practice.
Wait, I think
Plenty.
it's the other way around.
But
No, anybody that played for Central when you played would definitely say that was the other way around. We definitely. I used to. You're the only player that that I wanted to make a pat with. Never, ever, ever did I like running up against you, dog. That was a headache waiting to happen, dog. I didn't like that, dog. I did not like that feeling.
Listen, you know who gave me headaches? Shout out to I think Albert Booker. I don't know if you ever went there. Oh my gosh, listen.
Yeah.
That guy that was on 100 every day, all day.
Man. Book was good, man.
I never say I hated going to practice, but whenever I knew I had to deal with Book, listen, coach, I don't feel good. But yeah, from Central, I actually took a year off.
Uh-huh.
I know we're gonna get into that, but I'm gonna get the details on why I took a year off. From there, I went to a university. I applied for the university, got accepted. Things ain't go my way. Had to transfer to a JUCO, and then now I'm here, man. You know, transition that from entering the military. From the military, learned a lot, grown a lot, learned a lot about myself and people around me, and it molded me to the person I am today, man. As you can see, my background turned me into a family man, and we've been married. We actually just celebrated our 5th year anniversary in May. You know, so I'm loving life, man. Loving life. and a girl dad at that. Let me add a girl dad. Okay. Girl dads. Okay. I got two younger daughters.
Okay, that's what's up. So let's rewind. Let's rewind all the way to let's go to Westview. All right. So you went to first. No, let's go back to when you first started playing football and what made you. What was your inspiration for wanting to play football?
So when I first started, being of Haitian descent, growing up.
You got to say that one more time for my people. IET, baby, IET. No, I think you my first Zoe on here, dog. I think yep. Say it one more time, dog. Being a what?
Being of Haitian descent, Haitian background, immigrants from the islands, man.
Yes.
Specifically, my mom. My dad was on, just like most Haitian men, adults, parents, men. He just was like, listen, don't bring police to my house. I have no problem. Just don't bring police. But my dad was fine with it. My mom didn't know we were playing sports until a few days into our first day of practice. Me and one of my older brothers. I got 2 older brothers.
Okay.
So the introduction was my neighbor, who actually informed us about football. Shout out to Opelika Hurricanes. You know,
okay.
First team that I played for in Opelika. He introduced us to Opelika because I think he was already playing, and then I think a few days into us going to practice, he mentioned it to my mom, and my mom was not having it. Like she was wondering why we was coming in at nighttime, why we was all stained, dirty. It was like, yeah, we were playing up the street, we was playing at the park, but then eventually it just had to come out because me and my brother Ernest, we just grew a love for it, and from there, man, that's what grew the passion, you know, that's what grew the love for it. So it actually just came from us playing in our yards. That's how we used to play. We used to play literally in our front yard.
Right.
He knew both of us had some sort of talent, so he was like, hey, let's go out to Opelika, man, let's do it.
That's what's up. So what position did you play when you was at Opelika?
Oh man, my first couple of years was rough playing sports, man. I was the young chubby kid, you know what I mean? Like I said, Haitian descent, big plates. Big plates. So I was always playing with the older kids, you know what I mean? I was age 10 playing with the 12-year-olds, age 12 playing with the 14-year-olds. So I was playing offensive line, defensive line. That's it.
Okay.
Only option you had. Nose guard.
Okay.
Nose guard, guard, and tackle. That's it. Center. That's it.
Okay.
From there, I transitioned a few years later to Northwest Boys and Girls Club. If you ever been to a Northwest Boys and Girls Club, no matter where you at in the country, listen, you're gonna have top tier talent there. Yeah, so that's where I ended up going. I think when I finally got into middle school, that's when I kind of like understood more of my development as an athlete and been able to like, you know, go against top athletes, go against more skilled players, you know what I mean? Be introduced to different atmospheres so I could be able to evolve myself. Because I never really, you know, off season as a younger kid, I never really thought about working out until I got to the boys club. And there was a lot of guys, you know, playing summer camp leagues and just playing on their own, practicing on their own. So that's what really evolved my talent or my skill set as far as, you know, being a student of the game.
Got you.
From there, that's when I transitioned to linebacker, running back, and strong safety.
At the boys club? That's when you
at the boys club. At the boys club.
Okay. So you ended up, you know, from Westview, and hey, I don't know if you remember back in PE when we used to play like throw up, tackle, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, go ahead.
That also involved a lot of skill set too, because being around 50 guys, if you guys don't never heard of throw up tackle, I don't know if the young kids play it now. But throw up tackle was men amongst boys. Like you had to be You had to either be strong or fast or just
Fast,
big.
yep.
Or
Yep.
just big. You couldn't be mediocre playing throw.
No way. No way.
I have a lot
No
of
way.
grass stains and pains every day. But
All
yeah,
right.
throw tackles, just throw the ball in the air, whoever catch it, run and go.
Run and go. Run and go. Run and go as fast as you can. Because everybody else, you all by yourself. No block, no nothing.
The funny thing is I actually won an award at middle school
Really?
for most athletic because I always came in with some sort of grass stain, my pants rolled up, me sweating. Like I was surprised myself. I was like, me? For what? And then the teacher kind of introduced me. Yeah, this kid came to my class every day, either with an extra shirt, his pants rolled up, you know what I mean? So yeah,
That's
that was
That's what's up.
throw up tackle. That's what introduced me to skill set.
All right, so your brother, you have an older brother, and he's playing at Central. And when your brother played, he played with Willis, and and who else was on that team? Willis, James Gerald,
James Gerald, Willis McGahee,
Craig. I mean, all those guys.
Craig Harvey. You had Jonathan Cologne who played.
Big country,
University of Florida, big country. Jamal Weiss.
Yes.
Andre Fletcher. Like you had a lot of D1 athletes come out of that team. Yeah, a lot of D1 athletes.
So how was that transition like from having a brother? I think we were there as freshmen. Your brother was the senior. So how was that?
I think when we got there, they were just graduated.
Your brother was just graduated?
Yeah, they just graduated when we became freshmen.
Okay. So how was that transition for you going into like JV and then transitioning up? I think when we were sophomores, or did you do both?
I never played JV. I actually went back to the boys club my 9th grade year. I don't know who convinced me to do that, but I went back to the boys club for my 9th grade year.
Okay.
That was actually a learning lesson. I actually got kicked off the team. I got kicked off the team.
Why?
My ego grew bigger than than it should have. I felt as if, running back and linebacker could have been 2 positions I would have been very vital to the team.
Right.
They felt like running back wasn't. They gave me the ball every now and then, a few games we lost and I got upset and tantrum. Being a young kid, you know what I mean, not understanding when your place is to be quiet and to respect the leaders in front of you, your teammates, your coaches especially. I went off on the sideline. One of the coaches felt like, hey, I want his gear. I didn't argue with him. At all. I was like, if you want my gear, here. I got kicked off the team. Wow. But that was a humbling moment. That really taught me like, hey, listen, no matter how talented you are or how you think you look, you still have to uphold the image. And I actually, to this day, I met him actually not too long ago. I met him again because I haven't seen him in a long time, and I thanked him. I said, hey man, thank you.
Right.
He was like, for what? I was like, thank you for humbling me, man, kicking me off the team. Like I needed that, you know what I mean? Because during that whole off-season period, it just allowed me to think about, who I am as a person and what do I represent? Who do I represent? You know what I mean? Other than my parents, I represent God. You know what I mean? I represent Christ. I should carry myself as Christ. So from that day forward, I just told myself, hey, listen, man, you have an image to uphold. You know what I mean? You can't disrespect that image. You have a name to uphold, Brutus. You can't disrespect that name. It's not about the first name, it's about the last name. They don't know what you did, they know who your father is. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, my father was Etienne Eloy, and my father is Christ. So they could be like, man, he's a Christian, like that's how they act, or that's how his dad taught him how to grow up. So I thanked him, you know what I mean? I thanked him, and I thanked one of the other coaches that was a mentor to me. Actually, he just contacted me the other day. He was a mentor to me since day one, a man of God, and I told him, I was like, listen, man, that was one of the best times of my life, even though I felt at my lowest because I got kicked off the team. So yeah, that was that moment. But growing up, being the youngest of 3, I just always felt like I had to prove myself because with him, with him, it was like, your brother this, your brother that, this is that, the other. And I was like, our talent was different. Like he was a hitter, he gonna stick his head in there, he gonna do it. I ain't like all that, man. Like I like the finesse guy. I wanted to get the interceptions. I wanted to cause the fumbles. I wanted to do that stuff. I wanted to be a special teams All-American. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to hit every down. Like I don't want to do that. So
Gotcha.
that was one of the things that set us apart differently. You know what I mean? So I had to understand that he is him and I'm me. I tried to do that hard hitting. It wasn't me. I was like, let me stick to what I know how to do, what I feel like is best for me and my size and my talent. You know what I mean? So.
And then when you came in, like you wasn't a linebacker right away, you was a fullback, right?
Fullback.
Yeah, I remember you was on offense with us first.
Yeah,
with Ponce, when Ponce was the OC or what?
Yeah, Coach Ponce was the OC. I forget who the head coach was, but Coach Ponce was the OC.
Coach Saunders. Coach Saunders is the head coach.
Coach Saunders was the head coach?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So Coach Ponce was the OC. I still thought I carried that offensive side. I could have played a little offense, but for 4 quarters, my heart was defense, and it took me actually. Shout out to Northwestern Bulls. You know what I mean? That was our first victory in like a decade against them, and I played fullback the whole game.
Right.
Shout out to them. Shout out to Jackson.
And so you was at that game when they ran on the field on us after the game, everything.
Yes, I was so tired. I laid on the ground. They was like, "You won, y'all won." I was like, "Listen, let me just lay here." And
everybody was jumping on us. It was crazy.
Yeah. Shout out to Jackson Noble that got hurt, that gave me the opportunity to play that game.
Yo, where's Jason? I don't wonder if anybody in contact with him though, man.
He reached out to me not too long ago on Facebook. I gotta reach back for him, man.
Hey, man, hey, you gotta send. I'm locked out of Facebook, so you gotta send them my way, man. Give them my number. Man. Yeah, I've been locked out of Facebook since December, dog. That's why I can't really reach out to everybody like that.
You're in Facebook. What'd you do to get in Facebook prison, man?
I don't know. Somebody hacked my junk, and I can't get it back in. I mean, you said Facebook prison. What is that? Man. You said Facebook.
You said you're locked out. Oh, you locked out of your account.
No, somebody hacked my account, and I couldn't log back in, and they wouldn't let me back in. And I don't know who to contact or whatever. It's nobody to talk to. I don't know. Okay. I'm like, okay, something less for me to manage, man. All that social media, man. I just whatever.
I thought they locked you out.
Man. You said Facebook jail.
Yeah, man. But yeah, it took me to I think the third, maybe the halfway through the season to realize like, all right, man, like I'm not getting the ball like I thought I was as a fullback.
Oh, you wanted the ball, eh?
Man. I mean, I was gonna block, but let me at least get the ball like maybe 5. Let me get like 7 carries, but
they didn't give you the ball on the trap 31.
Man, listen, we had a running gun offense, bro, and there was we had one of the great running backs, 2 of the greatest running backs. We had Ant's brother Gaines, Christian Gaines. We had Ant played that year too.
Yeah.
We had a few running backs, man. We had a few running backs that year. So we had offensive talent. So I thought, I could add to the offensive talent, but yeah, it didn't work out that way. So I took my talents to the defense.
You took that. You went to defense. So you went to defense, but the defense had Ali, Mike.
Defense was stacked too.
Yeah. Matter of fact, because all right, that sophomore year it was Champ, those guys. And then it was Ali, and then I think Chevin came up, but Mike Sherrill. You know what I'm saying? Who else?
Yeah. We had a few. We had Gary playing DB. We had Archie playing safety.
Yeah.
We had Sweeting playing strong safety and corner. We had a few guys, man.
So the defense was loaded.
Was Booker still there? I think Booker was still there.
Booker was there. Our sophomore year, I remember.
Alex.
Go ahead.
You had Alex Saunders. He played.
Yeah.
So we had a few guys, man. We had talent.
So how did you fit in on the defense with all those guys, all those linebackers? How did you get in the rotation?
Remember I mentioned special teams All-American a while back? I had to prove myself on special teams. Then they got, oh, he got to run down them. So that kind of got me in the rotation of, second or third string linebacker, defensive end sometimes. Special teams, bro. That was my thing. Special teams, and like I said, just being in the rotation. Like whenever guys got tired or whenever a guy got maybe hurt the week before, just fill in where I could fill in, man. And just whenever I do fill in, make it count. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing. Make it count. Right. Whenever younger athletes, if I get the opportunity to get in there, make it count.
Make it count. Yes.
Make the name remember.
Got to make the play.
Remember, yeah.
So move on to our junior year into our senior year. Our junior year is, I think that's Nuke's senior year. I don't know how much you remember about that year. Mm-hmm. Do you remember anything about that year? I think we lost to Dillard.
Yeah, I remember that year. I cried like a little baby. We lost to Dillard. I cried like a baby, man. I don't like to lose, man.
Okay, so we move forward into the next year, and we dominating everybody. You forcing fumbles, you picking the ball off, and you doing so. What's going on the defense, man? Like, how y'all doing all this stuff, dog?
Man, it just, I guess it came from us playing together at such a young age together, and we just made a pact to ourselves, man. Like this year, we're going into the year like with no regrets, with no doubts, with no what's the word I'm looking for, with no regard to losing. Like we didn't want to lose. We didn't want to lose. We weren't going to lose. We didn't think, or we didn't know anybody out there that could beat us. So we made sure that year was going to be our year. So we just made a pact to ourselves as men, as guys. Like, listen, we all gonna fight. That was our main thing. Is if you ain't gonna fight, stay in the locker room.
That's it.
If you ain't gonna fight, stay on the sidelines, go in the stands. We still gonna love you at the end of the day. We're gonna see you in school, still dap you up. But when it comes to this green grass, you gotta bring it.
That's it.
That was our mindset. Not only on defense, on offense too. That was our mindset as well. Like I know a lot of times we was like, listen, offense ain't gonna do it for us, and then a lot of times y'all was like, defense ain't gonna do it for us either. You got to do it for each other. So that was our whole team's mindset. Special teams, kickers, coaches, everybody, even the fans.
Right.
Like, even the fans, like they'll come to us every day. Mm-hmm. Hey, what y'all gonna do this year? Yeah. Make sure y'all show up. It's gonna be a show. That's what we used to always say.
Yeah. Hey, big shout out to those Miami Central boys. They still doing their thing, winning state champions every year. Them boys still doing their thing, man.
Every year.
Hey, all right. So how was the recruiting process being in, what was your numbers as far as like turnovers? I know you got a lot of turnovers. What was your numbers like? And then what was like the recruiting process like for you?
To remember my numbers exactly, I don't know. I think I scored maybe 4 or 5 times that year.
Right, and you were on defense. I'm just letting the people know. Go ahead, you were on defense. Go ahead.
I think I scored like 4 or 5 times. I got intercepted. My biggest thing during my recruiting process was my size, man. Like a lot of teams just didn't have confidence in my size. Mm-hmm. I was a smaller guy, playing I guess a stronger man's, bigger man's position. Being recruited, a lot of the coaches used to ask our coaches, what other positions does he play? And I had film with defensive end, strong safety, linebacker, special teams. So that was my biggest, I guess that was my biggest setback, just my size.
Right.
So, but my recruiting process was hard, man. Like I really didn't get recruited to many teams. University of Kentucky was at a few games. University of Ohio, Cincinnati. Cincinnati really wanted me. Iowa State really wanted me. I still want it. But we live and we learn. But that was my two to three biggest teams I was looking at. University of Ohio, not Ohio State, University of Ohio, the Bobcats.
Yeah, Ohio, yeah.
Cincinnati and Iowa State, and FIU. I was looking at FIU for a little bit, but my recruiting process was hard, man, because not only because of my size, and this affects a lot of athletes growing up. I was good in class, but my test scores weren't the greatest. That's why I had to sit out my year after graduating, because I had to take a few courses to bring up my test score and to be more eligible for college university. So
Got it, got it. Okay. So
that's
so
another that's another insight to you athletes coming up. You know what I mean? Start your test scores, start your process early, even if you're in the 9th, 10th grade, man. Start taking those tests, even if they don't count. I know at a certain time they don't count yet, but try to apply for those tests, man. Take 1, take 2, take 3 a year, take tutoring, take sessions. You know what I mean? Have those GPAs though, because my GPA was good, just my test scores were.
Right.
So get it done early, man. Don't be afraid to ask for help. You know, don't be afraid to look for a tutor. You know, there's one teacher in every school that's willing to help. Trust me, we had a few. Shout out to Ms. Grice. She was one of them. But you'll have the help. You just gotta ask. Open your mouth. Closed mouths don't get fed. You know what I mean? The word of God says you have not because you ask not. So ask. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And I mean, and that's definitely what I always tell all kids, parents, is being proactive, because it's best to have all your ducks in a row and kind of wait, in a sense, than be scrambling at the end. Towards the end, like, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that. Just go ahead and check all the boxes now. Take all the tests, you know, just like you said, 10th grade, when you can go ahead and take it, get it out the way, because you can take it multiple times too. And this year they got lucky because of the whole COVID thing. It was all waived, like their test scores for kids this year. Wow. Yep. So all you had to do was, in a sense, get your GPA and take like the right classes to get the slide your way in this go round. So this recruiting, this was a you know, it was pretty open market. It was open market for recruiting season this time for the kids. So they had no excuses this go round. You know what I'm saying? So after you went through that process with taking the courses, what was your transition after high school?
My transition after high school was huge. I like I said, growing up in a immigrant background and everything like that, seeing that one of the biggest things that was needed was financial help in the house. You know what I mean? So my biggest decision was, do I want to continue my dream as an athlete, a college student, or do I want to help at home with finances? You know what I mean? And that's huge. That's something huge to put on or to take on your back as a young kid, because I still was a kid, you know what I mean? 17, 18, 19 years old.
Sure.
We're still kids, you know what I mean? So I thought back, I sat back and I thought, you know what I mean? I actually spoke to one of my old coaches, one of my mentors. Still to this day, I talk to him. And I asked him, you know what I mean? Like what do you think I should do? You know what I mean? He said, it's not about what I think you should do. It's what you think God should allow you to do. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you have to live with whatever decision that you ask God for and that He gives you. So, you know, I sat back and I was like, all right, do I want to continue sports?
There you go. You got the water. There you go. You go.
And like I said, at the end of the day, I love sports. You know what I mean? I love sports. It taught me a lot. It taught me determination. It taught me will. It taught me discipline. It taught me consistency. It taught me accountability. You know what I mean? It taught me how to be a man. You know what I mean? It taught me how to respect somebody. It taught me how to look somebody in the eye and give them your all. You know what I mean? And give them, what's the word? Your character. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, your character is called to play as an athlete. You know what I mean? Are you doing those 5 laps hard? You know what I mean? Are you saying, hey, I messed up? Yeah, bad boys. I messed up on this play, coach. You know what I mean? I blew an assignment. You know what I mean? Or you're gonna lie and say, oh yeah, the next guy did. You know what I mean? Did you show up to class? You know what I mean? Did you show up to tutoring? Did you show up to off-season training? You know what I mean? All those things come to play as an athlete, and people think athletes are just athletes. You know what I mean? Some athletes are just, of course we know, athletes, but others take it serious. You know what I mean? It's a part of their life.
Right.
So during my transition process, I applied to the University of Florida. I went on as a walk-on to try out. There was a local community college, Santa Fe Community College, I went there for a semester or two, transferred to the University of Florida, got hurt.
Oh
Got
boy.
hurt actually playing sandlot football in the offseason before I tried to report to do walk on. Got to walk on, got my pads, got hurt again because ain't them big boys. So me getting hurt, I got the question: do I want to come back next year and go to JUCO, or do I want to sit the whole year out and just be a spectator? I was like, man, I want to play.
Yeah.
So transferred to JUCO, Minnesota West Community College up in Minnesota.
Right.
Being a Miami boy, never been in the cold. It was serious. And what's funny is their summers were darn near hotter than our summer.
Right.
So I was like, one day I went in there, I was like, Coach, I ain't sweating. I'm hot, but I ain't sweating. I can't breathe. I'm hot though. And he was like, what do you mean? You guys are from Miami. I was like, yeah, but we got
It's a different type of heat.
Say we got ocean breeze, Coach. It's some dry heat up here, Coach. I ain't sweating. That ain't normal. He's like, go see the trainer. I don't need to see the trainer, but that's another thing. But yeah, I went to Minnesota West. During that whole period, man, I was really in a dark space. You know what I mean? Hurting myself, finally getting on a university, can't play for the university like I want to. Going to a junior college, which felt like I was back at Northwest Boys and Girls Club. I honestly, no disrespect to that team, but I felt like Northwest Boys and Girls Club, my team, that year I played as a Jit, could have beat us. If you're watching this, guys, don't take it personal, but I felt like we could have beat y'all. Being Miami. So I just, I being in a dark space, being an athlete, and I know a lot of athletes went through this at some point in time. I lost desire, not necessarily to live, but the desire to just be at a college. Like I really wanted to be there. So I was missing class. I didn't want to be there. I got homesick. You could say that. I got homesick. So that was another point in my life where I was like, all right, Rod, you got to make a decision and you got to make it fast. You can't sit in this dark place forever. Like this ain't you. So I called my cousin. At that time, he was in the military. He was like, the military got a football team. What you want to do? I was like, he's like, you can get paid while you still. I was like, immigrant, finances. Why not? I can still play sports. Why not? So I enrolled into United States Navy.
Got you. And before we get into the whole Navy stuff, talking about workout, I want to know if you remember. I know it was me and you. I don't know if Ronald was there too, but it was me, you, and I know it was Dumerville. We was doing workouts with Frank. We went to one of the workouts was like in the street. We were running, right?
Yeah.
And the other, like with that same workout, we was doing squats in his garage. Tell me, how much do you remember about that workout and what we did? I don't remember being so sore, like ever so dog. How could Dumerville live with that every day?
I got introduced to Dumerville. I don't know if you noticed, and that was funny how you mentioned our freshman to our junior year.
Right.
I got introduced to Coach Frank. Shout out to Coach Frank. He's one of the elite trainers, coaches. If you mention his name down in Dade County, everybody know who he is.
Frank. Yeah.
I got introduced to him my freshman going to my sophomore year, I think it was. And that took my physical stature, my physical game to another level, because he had that mindset like, if I don't and you don't break your body down now, come time for the season, you're gonna be behind. And to say I remember us being that sore, that my whole time period with Coach Frank, even eating like immigrant big plates, eating over at his house was just painful.
I was scared not to eat all of my food. I was afraid he was gonna make me work out again, so I ate everything.
2 things that he did if you didn't eat all your food.
What?
You had to work out again,
See,
or you had to pay for your plate. Or you had to pay for your plate. Those are the two things.
Right.
Oh man.
Oh, I remember those workouts, man. And honestly, even what I do today, I reflect back on the things I did when I was younger as a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And working out with guys like Frank. And I remember when the workouts at LA Fitness, that was the first time I ever sat in the sauna before.
Yeah.
They used to make us sit in the sauna for, I don't remember how long, but that's the longest
minimum
I used to
10
want to
minutes.
leave. I'm like,
minimum 10 minutes.
I'm like, my nose hairs, I couldn't breathe.
But a lot of athletes don't know the sauna is one of the most soothing things that you can do to your body. Oh my gosh. If you haven't been in the sauna as an athlete, you're doing yourself an injustice. Like, introduce yourself slowly, but introduce yourself to the sauna, man. It's gonna change it.
So how long did Frank have us in the sauna? Do you remember?
Minimum 10 minutes, bro.
10 minutes.
I never wanted to ask him how long we had to be in there because he'll add time. He'll add time. Depending on how you look, he gonna always stay in there longer than us. But depending on how you look will determine how long he keep you in there.
Right. So what was your interaction with Elvis?
My interaction with Elvis was cool. You know what I mean? Elvis is an easygoing, like really mellow, chill guy. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't talk much, he doesn't boast, he doesn't brag. He just goes out and performs. You know what I mean? So whenever you did see Elvis, he was more like a unicorn. If he wasn't working out, you didn't really see him. Right. You know what I mean? He was one of those guys. But my interaction with him was cool, man. Even after the year we played them, he looked at me. He was like, "Man," he said, "I didn't know you had that in you, boy." But I was like, you know, and that was major kudos and respect to him because I didn't even notice he noticed me playing. Okay. You know what I mean? I didn't even think I played that great, but no, he saw something in me that he didn't know I had. So, but I thanked him and his dad. You know what I mean? Because I wasn't that athlete prior to meeting them. You know what I mean? Because they took my off-season training to another level. They took my mindset of being a student of the game to another level because it wasn't just workouts with them. It was, you know, are you watching the guys film? You watching your position? Are you watching the top tier athletes and how they perform? What do they do? How do they talk? How do they walk? You know what I mean? Who do they hang around? You know what I mean? What are they doing?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And
go
ahead. You said it took you to another level. Right. And then we did another workout. I don't know if you remember. I know it was me and you that time. And I don't remember who else was around. With Chad and a few other guys. When Chad had the purple Hummer, I think he gave you his gloves or something like that, or shoes or something like that.
I was just talking to my brother about that yesterday.
Go ahead, talk about you remember that workout, man. That boy's so quick. I know they're gonna talk about him being knocked out, whatever, but that boy feet so quick.
I didn't even watch the fight, man. I didn't watch.
Oh, you didn't watch the fight?
Nah,
man, he went down. No, Chad went down. I was just like, hold on, Chad, hold on. Man, he threw a hook, but he raised up and he didn't cover up. You know, when you throw a hook, you got to cover up and block.
You got to block.
And he got back up, but you'll see it. But
I'm gonna look for some highlights. But
what do you remember about that workout?
Speed. Everything was fast, man. Everything was fast. Everything was one station to another. Everything was no complaining, just get it done. Speed. Everything was speed. Everything was timing, precision, and execute.
Yeah, it was some NFL guys out there and some college guys, and we was getting it in. You know what I mean? And that's the whole point, man. Like, if you want to be an athlete, just like what you said, man, the off season is where you make it. Not during the season, because you can't really get that much better during the season. This is what you make all the gains is during the off season. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So fast forward, moving to, you said you wanted to transition to the Navy. How was that like? And what was your mindset like going into the Navy, knowing about, I guess you could say, military or what they do and stuff like that? What was your mindset like going into the Navy?
It was an eye opener. It was definitely an eye opener to me. I was expecting one thing, but once I got in, it was just completely different to me. You know what I mean? I thought that every person I was going to encounter was bigger, faster, stronger, vicious than me. You know what I mean? And I've never considered myself a vicious guy unless I was under the helmet. Even then, I wanted to be a finesse guy. But I just it was like I said, it was an eye opener to me. You know what I mean? One thing that didn't change though was the interaction with different people, different walks of life, different cultures. Because being in sports, you're going to interact with different cultures, different walks of life, different backgrounds, different mindsets, different beliefs. But I think the biggest thing that I got out of the military was the political side of the world. You know what I mean? The decisions that had to be made, even if when you didn't want to do it. How do I say this? The perception. A lot of the things that I got from the military was perception. You know what I mean? It's not how you're doing or what you're doing. It's how you look when you're doing it. You know what I mean? Do you look like a guy that's enjoying it? Do you look like you're into it? Do you know what I mean? Even if you're performing the job 100%, you know what I mean? Do you look like you want to do it? You know what I mean? So that was one of the things that I had to, I guess, change in myself, because I've always been a person, hey, if I need to do it, I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean? I may not look like I'm the happiest person doing it, but I'm gonna get it done. You know what I'm saying? So, and I guess that goes back to, I don't know if you ever heard of the term, just play the game. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? No matter what's being said or how it's being said, just play the game. Just play the game. And it didn't rub right with me, because I never wanted to be that guy that just played a game. You know what I mean? Like, why do I have to just?
Yeah.
Like, if something don't seem right to me, I'm gonna speak up. Like, I'm not I'm not gonna just take it for what it is. Like, okay, why do we have to do this?
Right.
And some people may say you're challenging, and I don't think I'm challenging. Like, why do we have to do this? What is our main purpose? What is our mission? Because that's one of the big things with the military mission. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah, okay, if it's classified, okay, it's classified. I understand. Right. But if it's not classified, okay, why we gotta do this?
Right.
What's the reason? Okay, no problem. I mean, it is my job. I'm gonna perform it, but let me know something. Like, so. But at the end of the day, if I could do it all over again, I would. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I learned a lot. I was around a lot of different cultures, different backgrounds, different beliefs, different people, different understandings, different views of life. You know what I mean? And it allowed me to grow as a person. It allowed me to understand when I'm dealing with another person, dealing with another human being, how should I respond? You know what I mean? How should I interact? How should I deal with them? And that came with being an athlete. That came with being a human being. That came with being a person. You know what I mean? Like, you have to, and it all goes back to one of the biggest things my pastor says, love. Mm-hmm. Like, how do you love? You know what I mean? Right. Like, how are you compassionate? How are you understanding? How are you giving? Because sad to say, a lot of people in the world nowadays are stingy. You know what I mean? They don't want to give, and to take it back to being an athlete. Are you that athlete that's going to see a guy that's struggling and know how to help him, but don't help him because you feel like he may take your spot?
Right.
Or feel like he may outshine you.
Right.
If you got the skill set, you got the talent, why does it matter? He's going to get that information eventually. Help him out.
Right.
It's always going to be a replacement out there.
Right, for sure.
Why not make his life a little better?
Right.
Show him an extra workout he could do. Show him an extra meal or intake or film study. Show him what to look at. You know what I mean? And like, to me, that goes back to love. Like, if I call you a teammate, or if I call you a fellow comrade, why not help you out to show you a better way? You know what I mean? Sure. So yeah, but like I said, I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it at all. I mean, that was one of the best decisions of my life. I got to travel the world. I spent my 23rd, 24th birthday in beautiful Brazil. I spent some time in Africa, so it was definitely, and Africa was beautiful, man. It's nothing like the textbooks, and nothing like the movies that we watch to actually be on the original soil of our ancestors. It was beautiful. I still tell my wife to this day, like, we got to take a trip there, at least one.
So what part of Africa?
I went to, and it's funny. It was this island. It was this island off the coast of Africa called I lost it. Cape Verde. Cape Verde, Africa. Oh man, when I say beautiful, it felt like I was in the Caribbean of our United States. You know what I mean? The Jamaicas, the Bahamas, and stuff like that. It just felt like I was in the Caribbean, but just in the African side of it. So it was beautiful. But I went to Congo. I went to Djibouti. This area called Djibouti. Hot. When I say hot, poof, hot. South America, most of South America. I actually flew out of what was that area in South America? I mean South Africa. Oh my gosh, I forget. But I flew out of Africa. I forget the name though, man. It's late. It's nighttime. Daddy like, yeah, that mind ain't working like it's supposed to.
It's all good. So you got to travel. You go ahead. You got to travel. You know, doing being in the Navy, right? The Navy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. So what do you have a high moment that you could talk about in the Navy, or in a low moment, and how your mindset kind of sense in the help you overcome that low moment while you were in the Navy, traveling far away from your family or whatever the case may be?
I'm gonna give you the high. I'm gonna give you the low. My high moment is I had a high moment where I achieved a award that was kind of a specialty on the ship. It was actually two awards I received at that one time. One is a specialty on the ship called surface warfare team. It's just basically knowing every job on the ship, because the ship is just basically a floating community, a floating job, a floating career. So you'll have all different types of jobs, culinary, engineering, air warfare, all types of jobs. And you had to know basically a minimum or a good understanding that you can explain to somebody on the outside looking in what that job entailed. So that was one of the awards that I received. And I received another award for, it was called Blue Jacket of the Quarter or something like that. It was just kind of like one of the Junior Sailors of the Year award type thing. So that was one of my highs, you know what I mean? Because it actually helps for evaluations for advancement. So that's why I was really happy that I received those two awards at that time, because I think I was up for my advancement around that time. My low, so I had a moment in time where I got in trouble on the ship. Yeah, wow. I got in trouble. I got in trouble off of my own temperament, because it was a situation where I wasn't feeling good that day, and one of the supervisors was telling me to go to medical, and I'm like, man, I need to go to medical for, man. I ain't dying. Like, just don't feel good. Like, I need to chill for a little bit. Right. So we kind of got into it a little bit. He told me to go. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go. I didn't go. I went to one of the offices and I was kicking it for a minute because I just needed to sit down. Right. He walked in, he was like, oh, I thought I told you, like making a scene in front of everybody. I thought I told you to go, and I just looked at him, I was like, are you serious? So I kind of like stormed out. And when I stormed out, I ran into one of our senior lieutenants, our senior officers. Mistakenly, I ran into him because he was walking through a doorway. I was walking through a doorway, and I just like I was seeing red, and I blew right past him. So that same one of the other supervisors came out to me. He was like, "Man, did you realize what you just did?" I said, "Man, I don't care." I was heated. I said, "Man, I don't care what I did. Like, what do you mean? What did I do? You just ran into Lieutenant so and so." I said, "Oh, okay. Tell him I said my bad." He's like, what? What? You're not gonna go in there and apologize to him? I say, and this lieutenant, if anybody of my former sailors watching me, this lieutenant was known for blowing people off. And like, I didn't do it because of that. It just so happened to be him. But he was known for blowing people off, talking to people any type of way, you know what I mean? So when our captain heard it, our captain like subliminally told me during, because we have something called captain's match. So I had to be disciplined for my actions.
Right.
So our captain kind of subliminally told me loud for everybody to hear, but he kind of subliminally told me, hey, if you need any help in any situation, even if it's dealing with this situation, he just looked at me like with a pause, like, let me know. Cause he knew what type of guy that was, but being he was an officer and they're officers together, that was kind of that whole, that whole play the game situation. So he had to step up for his guy at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But he was telling me, if you need any help, and he looked at me like, if you put in the complaint, I'll back you up, type thing. But I was over it because I knew I had like a year left, and I was just like, you know what, whatever punishment y'all want to give me, it really don't matter right now. I'm on my way out the door. So
that's a crazy world, man. But the question is too, like, are you guys living on land or are you guys living on the ships while you're in the
Kind of both. You have situations where you have like a duty day. A duty day is just a 24-hour shift. So you'll work your regular work day, and we have little. I don't know if you ever watched Antoine Fisher. So I watched that movie before. Yeah, we have living quarters inside the ship where you can sleep at and everything like that. And if we're not out to sea, you can go home to your families, you can go over to your apartment. But if you have a duty day, a 24-hour shift, you go sleep in that area until you have something we call the watch rotation, which is basically standing a post for 4, 5, 2, depending on how many hours that post requires. That's when we're inland. And when we're out to sea, you're out to sea, my brother.
Yeah.
So you can do the same thing. You can do your regular work day after your work shift is over, 9 to 5. After your work shift is over, if you don't have to stand watch, the rest of the day is yours. You go play video games on the ship, go work out, go study, go play cards, kick it.
Is it like, do y'all have like a ship like Carnival? Because I've been on one of those. Like, is it something like that where you?
I wish it was like that. Some of the larger ships are more. I wouldn't say alcohol.
Okay. That'd be a fun Navy, right?
Listen, I think the British or France or Canadian, something like that. Some militaries actually have alcohol on the ship.
Really?
But you can only consume so much.
Okay.
I think they have wine or something like that because that's like a part of their culture. But you can only consume so much.
So have you ever like rode like in a submarine? Have you ever been in one of those before?
I haven't. You actually have to have a clearance to be in one of those, and my job didn't. My job had a clearance, but it didn't have a special clearance to get on one of those. I've always wanted to get on one, but never had that.
So in total, how many years did you have to serve before you transitioned out?
I served 6 total years with a 2 extra year obligation, so 8 in total. 8. So those 2 year obligations were I was separated from the Navy physically, but on paper I was still a part of the military for 2 years, just in case maybe like a wartime situation came up, something like that. Then I may have been recalled. Thank God I didn't, but 6 years with a 2 year extra obligation.
So the next question is, first off, what was your mindset like before your way out? It's almost just say like high school, you graduated in that case. So what was your mindset on the way out, and what was your transition? Like, what was I going to do with my life next?
Funny thing is, my mindset on the way out was so crystal clear. Because I think at that time, I don't know if you remember Claudio Daniel.
Who?
Like basketball.
Claudio.
Maybe if you see him, Claudio. If you see him.
Claudio.
Yeah.
Okay.
actually presented me a year, 2 years before I got out of the military. I actually asked God, I was like, God, what am I gonna do when I get out? Like, I need a business, I need to do something. Like, what do you want me to do? And a few weeks later, Claudio gave me a call. You know what I mean? He felt as if I was a guy that he trusted, and he found interest in, and he gave me a proposition to join him and a few other guys in this clothing company.
I remember. Okay, yeah, I remember Claudio. I remember.
Yeah. So I was like, sure, you know what I mean? Let's do it. Mm-hmm. That, and also I was in preparation to go back to school because the military would pay for school. And my thought process getting out was, I wanted to be a firefighter because that was one of the things that actually caught my attention when I was on the ship. Yeah. I'm actually in pursuit of it right now. I finished fire school. I finished EMT school, which is basic medical emergency medical technician. Mm-hmm. And I'm just in a pursuit for that, applying for different departments and see how the Lord opened that door.
So what made you said firefighting, what made you fall in love with firefighting? And you said
on the ship
when you were in the Navy. Ship.
On the ship, we're actually each person has to be basic damage control qualified, which is basic firefighting qualifications. I had my basic, but then I caught an interest in it, and I continued training and qualifications to enhance. You know what I mean? And I think I got as far as fire marshal for my qualifications. So I found the interest in it. It just felt like I was back with the team. You know what I mean? It was a group of guys that had to respond and had to get the job done no matter what. You know what I mean? It could be 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning. You're in the middle of your sleep, but you got an alarm go off, and you have to protect the guys that you're on the ship with. So I kind of, I used the word pride back then, but I don't use it now. I kind of just found an interest, and I found a calling towards doing that, because it gave me some sort of I guess some sort of function, or some sort of not necessarily belonging, but some sort of feeling to help. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I'm naturally, I just like to help people, and I just like, you know what? Why not do that? You know what I mean? And I mentioned it to a few of my friends or people that I know, just random people that I deal with at work, and I was like, man, I can see you doing that. You seem like that type of person. So, that kind of caught my interest. It kept me from going UA. If you don't know what UA, that means unexcused absence, when I was on the ship, because I liked it so much. You know what I mean? So it kept me from running away from the military.
So you thought about it?
Oh man, I thought about it every day.
So what made you think about like running away though?
I could talk about it now. I just it's a few things I just didn't like. I mean, of course, everybody has their feelings about government or whatever like that, but it's just a few things I just didn't like about how it was ran. It may have just been my ship. It just may have been my leadership or people that were in power on my ship, or it may just be everyone in general. I just didn't like how things were ran. Yeah. And I felt caged in a sense. You know what I mean? So I just was like, you know what? I like the decision that I made. I like the people that I'm interacting with. I like the things that we do. It's just, I guess the little bad things that I didn't like kind of overweighed at one point or sometime the good things that we did. But now that I'm out of it, I try to take more of the good out of it than the bad. But when I was in, it's just I couldn't see the bigger picture. But when I got out, I was like, okay, the bigger picture was cool. I don't want to go back, but the bigger I see the bigger picture. You know what I mean? And like I said, being out, it showed me, and it gave me a better understanding on how to deal with things on this side of the world rather than being enlisted. But shout out and salute to every armed forces, current and past, because it's definitely a decision that not everyone would make, and not everyone is built to deal with. You know what I mean? So, and even to this day, like a lot of a lot of people mention or go through PTSD and everything like that. Thank God I don't deal with that, and I didn't have to deal with certain situations that other has to go through. But it definitely is, it definitely is a lifestyle, or it definitely is a career that is built for strong. You know what I mean? It's not built for the weak at all. You know what I mean? So shout out to them and what they do on a day-to-day basis, you know, sacrificing their life, sacrificing what they do.
All right. So okay, so you transition into going into, you know, being a firefighter, yeah?
That's the goal, man. That's definitely the goal.
So what did you transition from the Navy? What was the next thing that you did from transition from the Navy? I know you got into the clothing line. You were doing the clothing line. Was that like a full-time thing, or were you just doing your entrepreneur thing? What was going on with you at that point?
At that point, that at first it was just like, you know what, let me jump in this and help a friend that wanted me to be a part of something. But then it grew into a stronger friendship within us all, and it grew into a learning lesson, because a lot of the things that I got from them, just dealing with the business. Like, I never had a situation where I had my own business, had my own company, so it taught me some of the same things that being in sports taught me. It taught me dedication. It taught me consistency. It taught me discipline. It taught me communication skills. It taught me having to be there, because I think one time we had to get some shirts made and they weren't complete, and we needed to order the next day. So I stayed there for like a few hours, putting in my own labor with this t-shirt company that we were dealing with, just to get the job done. So it taught me a lot. You know what I mean? It taught me how to not depend on a check from someone else, and
I love it.
And have faith that God will open the door for another situation.
So are you still currently part of and doing the clothing line? What's going on with that?
Currently, I'm not a part of it. We, just like any other business or any businesses in general, you know what I mean? We just learned from it, and we took what we learned from it, and we just branched off, you know what I mean? And we still communicate with each other, you know what I mean? It wasn't a breakup amongst business partners. It just was, you know, we just felt like the ride was cool when it was, and we just continued on with other ventures. You know what I mean? One of the guys is a full-time realtor now. Another guy does music, and he has another job that he works on. I worked for UPS at the time, doing personal training, getting back into personal training soon. That was another transition that I did when I got out of the military.
Right.
Another guy he's actually an artist. So we all kind of just, you know, did other things.
Right.
But we all learned from each other. I know I definitely learned from all those guys and their respective positions on how to do things, how to do business, how to run a business. So.
Right. And all I look at something like that is it's an experience in life. You know, you go through waves, and just like you said, you ride the wave and you learn from the experience, and you learn how to build a business with your friend, which almost just like you said, in a team thing atmosphere, just like football. And then you can take that and duplicate that with another idea that you have, just like you said, with personal training. You know how to market. You know, when you do shirts, all you do is market. So because you need people to buy it. You know what I'm saying? So you probably have strategies to market yourself. You know what I mean? You know, so everything is an experience. So all right. So I have a thing, and I'm not going to keep you up all night. Definitely don't want to do that. You got the kids. I know you got to get your sleep, and you have all these things that you do. You know, you working on being a firefighter. I know I got to let my man get his rest. So I do a thing that I call the wrap up, right? And it's a fill in the blank. I'm gonna say, you know, blank is what to you, and then you'll fill in the blank. So the first word is confidence is what to Rodny Brutus?
Important.
So can you explain why is it important?
I say it's important because if you don't have confidence in yourself, you're stuck in step one. You know what I mean? If you don't have confidence in who you are, and what you're about, first and foremost, you got to know who you are. You got to know who you are. You got to know who you represent, and what you're about. Because if you don't, then you'll fall for anything. Your standard. My apostle and my prophetess, my first lady and his wife and my apostle and his first lady always says that you have to set a standard. What's the better way of setting a standard when you know who you are and confidence in what's coming out of your mouth and what's going into your mind.
I love it. Okay, the next one is attitude is what to Rodny Brutus?
Attitude. It's a good one. Attitude is beneficial. If that's I don't think that's a good one.
You don't think that's a good one? Go ahead. What do you mean? You can, man. We got space. Go ahead.
I don't think that's a good one.
Attitude. You can think of sports. You can think of life. You know, and the type of attitude that you bring in your.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Attitude is a determining factor. Because your attitude can take you far, or it can take you far the other direction. It's funny because going back to the Navy, I had this printout. I wish I had it in front of me. I had this printout that had attitude at the top, and it gave a definition of attitude.
Right.
And one of my supervisors saw it, one of the chiefs on the ship. He wasn't my specific supervisor, but he was a part of the department, engineering department. And he saw it and he read it. He looked at me. He said, "That defines you, Brutus." I said, "What do you mean?" And I didn't realize I had it on my folder, but I used to read it from time to time. I wish I had it in front of me. If I find it later on, I'll send it to you. You could present it to the people. But your attitude, like I said, it could take you far or it could take you in the wrong direction. Like if you have a horrible attitude, like you come to work, you don't want to be there. You come to your business, you don't want to be there. You don't have a presentable appearance. You don't have love in your heart with that attitude. Ain't nobody gonna want to be around you. Ain't nobody want to do business with you. Ain't nobody gonna want to talk to you. What? Like, perfect example. If you go to a restaurant and the person serving you has a horrible attitude, you ain't gonna want to eat that food. I remember I went into Subway during my lunch break one time, and I asked the lady just for bread. I was like, "Hey, do y'all got this type of bread?" "We ain't got that bread." I looked at her coworker and I was like, and she started putting the meat on the sandwich. I was like, "You know what? Can you stop, please?" I was like, "I don't want that anymore." And I told the lady next time, I was like, "Can you make my sandwich, please? Because if I eat that sandwich, there's no telling I may be sick tomorrow."
Wow.
Because of, think about it. If you give me a horrible attitude, what am I consuming in my body? Am I consuming your attitude? Am I consuming what you're dealing with in life? Am I consuming the stress that comes with me putting this? Be careful what you eat, what you listen to, and what you drink.
I love it.
Because all that can determine your spirit, your response to things, your attitude towards things.
Yeah.
Because think about it. Think about some of the people that may have committed a crime or gone to prison. It may have been listening to some sort of music or a crowd or something like that that may, depicting the wrong things in life.
Right.
Feeling, beating up this person, beating up that person. Like, what are you putting into your body?
Right.
So I told her, I was like, and I still used to see after that. And the lady that I ended up making my sandwich, she bring that up from time to time. She was like, "You remember when you told me to make your sandwich?" "Yeah, I remember it."
Yeah.
I said, "She changed the attitude, right?" And from that day forward, you laughing, but from that day forward, and that goes back to what you were saying about character. From that day forward, she knew that my standard and my approach, I ain't finna tolerate that. Like change that. Like
straight up.
But I noticed she never made my sandwich after that. Like for real. She made it one time. She made it one time after that. She helped make the sandwich. She ain't completely made it. She helped me. But it was a different attitude. You know what I'm saying? It was a different approach. So,
gotcha. That's what's
yeah,
up,
it's
man.
important.
That's a good one. So the next one is mindset is what to Rodny Brutus.
Mindset is a way of life.
Go ahead and explain that.
It's a way of life, man. Like your mindset will determine your future. To me, like if you have a mindset saying that you're defeated, if you got a mindset saying that you can't make it,
right?
If you got a mindset saying that I don't know if I'm good enough, like you're not going to be. You're not going to be.
Right.
It was one thing that I heard one day. It was a quote. You may have heard it too. If you think you can't do it, you can't do it. Because that's the first step right there. That's the first step. If you go into something thinking that you're not going to complete it, you're not going to complete it. Because every day you're going to come with that mindset like, man, I don't know if I can do it. What am I doing? Like, am I really going to do this? Like, what you second your guess for? Second your guessing yourself for? Just do it. Just do it. Yeah. Like Nike say, just
like
do
Nike,
it.
Nike, baby, just do it. Just do it. So if you could give somebody advice on, how to improve their mindset, is there anything that you would give them or what that helps you? Just say from all the way from Miami Central, playing at Central, going all the way to the first going to Minnesota, your whole route all the way to Minnesota West, back to the Navy and everything else. What advice could you give somebody to help improve their mindset? Or let's say this, or we can go this too. What advice would you give a student athlete that's going through the transition similar to yours, where they had to go through JUCO or, you know what I mean, and everything else to figure out what they want to do with themselves in life? What type of advice would you give them? You can answer either question.
I didn't find myself until I found God. I didn't find out who I am and who I'm supposed to be and who I'm going to be and my destiny until I found God. I always knew God was there, but I never took him serious. Never did. I used to pray with him doubting. I used to pray to him questioning. I used to pray to him not believing. I used to look for, which a lot of us do, look for confirmation and acceptance from man and people. And that'll fade, you know what I mean? That'll fade. Because 1 minute, highs and lows. Right. Even now, your greatest athlete or your greatest performer or everything like that, one day you loving them, the next day they crucifying them.
Right.
They hate them.
So crazy. Yeah.
So why? That's just me. You know what I mean? Like find who you are in God, and he'll always lead your path. He'll always lead you in the right direction. It may not be the direction that you want to go in. It may not be the direction that you're comfortable with. It may not be the direction that you think is prosperous. Because a lot of times we think, or we see, especially on the social media world or the entertainment world, that we think the perception of how someone is living their life is the greatest. And some of the richest people can be some of the most miserable people, can be some of the most angry people, the most horrible attitude people. It's just plain and simple. But you can meet some of the richest people. You can meet some of the poorest people with the greatest attitude, greatest spirit. You would think they was wealthy. They have no worries in the world, no nothing. Right. So no matter if you have money, you don't have money, it's all about seeking a higher purpose, which is, to me, like I said, my religion is important. My belief in God is important. My dedication to Him and what He wants to do in my life is important, because you never know. There's somebody somewhere out there that needs you,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're not in the position to be there for them, or you're not in the position that God called you to be, or the place that you need to be, then they're missing out. They're missing out because you're out of position.
Got you.
There's an athlete out there that needs you as a gym.
Ooh, okay.
You get what I'm saying? Like,
I got that.
there's kids out there that's looking for you to be that person that they need in their life, to train them, to mentor them, to guide them in the right direction, to guide them in the right path, because you have that knowledge of what you've been through as a student athlete, as a student. You get what I'm saying? So you have those skills and those insights to instill into them and to give them that knowledge that they need, that nobody may not give them. Because think about us growing up. We may have had some people in our life that was there, but did we have some of the right information growing up? We had the right coaches, you know what I mean? But did they just stick to just teaching us how to play sports, or did they teach us how to be men? Did they teach us how to be pillars of the community?
Got you. That's big.
You get what I'm saying?
That's big. That's big, man. Okay. That's what's up. I love it. All right. So last fill in the blank for Rodny Brutus. Rodny Brutus is who moving forward? You can project your future, your thoughts. Who are you moving forward?
I'm a servant. I'm a servant, man. I want to serve whoever God called me to serve. I want to be available and reciprocal to whoever. You know what I mean? Like I said, when you asked me, at the beginning of the show, I'm gonna ask you questions. It's up to you to answer those questions. Like, I want to be an open book. I want to be available to whoever needs what God put in me to give to them. So I just want to be a servant. So at the end of the day, man, when I finally close my eyes, He can tell me, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." Not my good and faithful employee, not my good and faithful friend, not my good servant. And that's what we are in this world, man. Like, at the end of the day, who are you helping? Who are you serving? If you go to a restaurant and you meet somebody and they just sit you at your seat, rather than them saying, "How may I serve you today?" Think about that.
Hey man, that's big. I always say, man, the world is your mirror, meaning like you give value to the world, it gives back to you. Like, you help people, and then whenever you need help, you get that as well. So it's always, it's like a cycle, and it's a never ending cycle. And I wish, a lot of people had that same mindset. How can I serve you? How can I help you? And that's why, I created everything that I'm doing. That's why I help the kids that I help. And I know that's why you're pursuing everything that you're pursuing, is to help. You know what I mean? And just like you said, you want it to be reciprocated. You know what I mean? It's that never ending cycle of life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely something. It's like I said before, it's definitely something that my pastor just instilled in me, man. And I live off of the principles that he teaches us, because he gets his teachings from God. You know what I mean? And what better way to learn how to love and learn how to be a servant than to serve a person that is instilling in you spiritual things. So I take everything that he teaches us, and I take it to heart, man. I really, and I've seen a shift in my life. I've seen a change in my life once I really start living the way the good book tells us to live. And I just became more careless of what the worries of the world gives us, rather than enjoying life. And that's one of the things that we need to start doing as people. Just enjoying life, man. It ain't, at the end of the day, it's not as serious as we think it is. It's not as bad as we think it is, and it's not as hard as we think it is. We make it hard on ourselves with the decisions that we make.
Hey, that's the big tip from Brutus of the day. Enjoy life. Enjoy life, people. You gotta tell them one more time, Brutus.
Enjoy life, man. Listen. Listen, and this is something that I tell my wife lately, and some friends lately. Listen, if you got a lunch break, take your lunch break. If you got a vacation time, take your vacation time. If you got PTO days, take your PTO days. Because at the end of the day, time is more valuable than money. You can always make money. You can't never make time. Never.
There we go. We got to give it to him one more time. Hey, I appreciate you coming in and leaving those great words for the people. And I want you guys to share this. And I'm reaching back as you watch this. I'm reaching back to all my guys. If you played at Central, you're one of my guys. Let's get on the line. Let's chat about your transitions in life. All athletes. That's what I'm looking to do. And I definitely appreciate your words of wisdom and your time. You're a very busy man, a family man, out there grinding, getting it. Go ahead.
Cut that out. Man, I appreciate you, man, just having me on, man, and really reaching out to me as well. And us finally making this happen. I know we got to make this happen for a while.
Finally. Hey, because what I like to say is we all go through that roller coaster of life. So why not have a guide to elevate your mindset? Jim, out.